This
to order.
conference will now be recorded.
Stetser, second.
Roll call vote. Dorothea, could you ask for a vote?
Yep, I will. I'm sorry, I was getting some feedback from somewhere. I was just checking where. Okay. Okay, trustee Stetser,
Stetser, aye.
Dan, this is the vote to open the meeting.
trustee Galusha. Frank, you're muted.
Trustee Galusha, aye.
Trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating. Dan, you're muted.
Keating, aye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Motion passes.
Any conflicts of interest to disclose?
I have nothing to report.
I have nothing
Trustee
to
Galusha.
report. Anybody else?
Lampier, I do not.
Stetser, I do not.
Keating, I do not.
Okay.
We've got a mic on caller number 1.
Yes, I see that. That's what I'm working on.
I'll take care of it, Dorothea.
Already done.
Okay, first item.
Bob, you're not in the, can't hear you. You got to be in front of the computer.
Oh, okay. All right. First item I spoke to Justin Balistra on we need to have the planning board. I was going to request tonight that the planning board review the active transportation plan for a consistency review for the LWRP. Justin asked to hold off on that, so because they're trying to read through it and give themselves enough time to do a review. So that's what he asked. He's also prepared. I also talked to Justin. He's preparing a recommendations to look at some of the temporary use permits, the issue that we had spoken previously about. He's going to circulate a draft of recommendations that his board discussed last night and are proposing that we consider.
So is that related to, can we still go ahead with taking the transient merchant piece out of our code? Can we still do that tonight? Okay.
That we can still do tonight. This would be the second piece of it that we told them we would talk to them about.
Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Public hearing is not till 6:30. Jeff, I thought Jeff is he should be piping in pretty quickly. He's gonna give us an update on CCA. Are there any member items that people would like to discuss?
I had
go ahead, Dan, you go first.
Thanks, Renee. Sorry about that. I had a request. I bumped into a neighbor who was asking about, since it's summertime, we had talked about the creek that runs down Rand and doing some work on that over the summer. And he was just asking me, what's the plan for that? And I said I didn't know, but I'd bring it up at the next trustees meeting.
Which section of the creek was he concerned about, Dan?
It's the one near the Rand offshoot that goes up the hill to like Len Parker and Palumbo and Tempest, like up there. We talked about this over the winter, and the plans were to do some work over the summer.
The place was it the park near Rich Palumbo's where the gabions are failing?
Yeah.
Okay, we had talked previously about that. They're not in imminent danger. Scott Harder had gone out there to look at them, and we were going to try to hold off another year because they're not in imminent danger of collapse, and we just wanted to get through this year. I think it's something that we'll probably go out there a few times during the year and take another look at them to make sure that's still the case. But that was what we discussed in the spring.
Okay. Has that been communicated to Rich Palumbo? Is that Rich's understanding?
That we did talk to Rich about that. We did talk to Rich, and I'll if there's any confusion about it, I'll follow up and I'll give him a call.
Yeah, there is confusion about it. So
okay.
Yeah,
I'll call him. I'll call him.
Okay.
I have a couple questions about the the speed enforcement, speed speed reduction strategy. Did you have any luck scheduling with DOT yet?
I have been tied up with other stuff all today. I was gonna try to call today and do that, and I ran out of time at the end of the day. Just got off the phone. I finished at 5:40, so I did that.
Okay.
That's gonna have to wait till tomorrow. But I'm
Okay.
gonna try to set it up hopefully before I leave. If not, it'll have to be after I come back in July.
Okay, and then the other thing was the State Street Bridge rehabilitation project. I sent all of you the, gosh, what's it called? Oh my gosh, the overlay. Why am I blanking on the name? It has a 3-letter, the detailed, active detail, activity detail plan or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like a 52-page document with
Yeah.
everything, including the footers and the last detail that they're going to use on the bridge. And I believe it's 80% complete, at least from the last email. So we don't want to put that out yet. Lily, that's a great idea to have a paper copy at Village Hall for us to be able to reference and also to put it up on our website. And then there's a short list of comments that's super easy to get through. The two I noticed that were missing was the discussion about the width of the sidewalks on the bridge in particular. And I want to make sure we don't lose that thread. And I also didn't see a plan, since the Canal Path underpass is going to have to be closed. It doesn't sound like the whole time, but part of it. And that 52-page drawing outlines it. But I don't see a temporary crosswalk or
I have an
something.
idea, Renee.
Yeah.
Because the underpass is going to have to be closed for part of a time, what a great opportunity to restore
our
the
crosswalk.
crosswalk on
Right.
top of the road
Right.
and have a
Right.
safe way for people to get over to the towpath.
Yeah.
And then we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, so those are my two things that I see missing from there. And I will send that around to you all. And if you could send me any additional things you see missing, this is just the State Street rehabilitation. It doesn't, it's not the additional pedestrian safety projects that were also kind of tied in with those meetings. But I noticed that they said the comments stopped because everything else was pertaining to the other pedestrian improvements that they presented at those two public meetings. So, and that maybe you all are used to looking at those drawings. Bob, you probably are. So if there's a detail about the sidewalk in there, I could not find the width of the sidewalk described in there. And it would be good if we had that in that plan.
I'll take another, I'm gonna write myself a note right now.
Okay.
Well, since he's looking over there, I don't know if he's speaking or not.
I can't
I
tell.
have a question. Renee. I did notice
Yeah.
that the sidewalks were not mentioned, the width of the sidewalks were not mentioned.
Yeah.
So I was going to add that on there, but if something already is mentioned, do you want us to reiterate to give it more backing? Or do you, once it's said, it doesn't need to be?
I think we didn't
Multiple people saying the
submit
same thing.
comments before, so I think if we could summarize them now, we could reinforce what we have told them verbally in written form, so there's documentation. So I think the big one is the width of the sidewalks. Also the stripe, the striping on the bridge back to at least 10-foot lanes.
The striping, Bob, they do address, and the comments from DOT, let me find it. They're going to put it back in the center and leave. I'm going to have to find it. So keep on talking and I'll raise my hand when I find it.
My question was, were they accepting of one bike lane, or do they have to have one on either side? Because
But they do need to have one on either side.
they do, okay.
They do need to have one on either side right now. And if I can find it, it's in here. Oh, here it is. It is question number 3. The center line stripe down the center of the bridge provides a maximum 5-foot wide shoulder in each direction for use by bicycles and is in line with the 2019 Pittsford Active Transportation Plan. This portion of New York 31 is also part of State Bike Route 5, which additionally adds importance to the inclusion of bicyclists in the design plans for this area. A corridor-wide decision on lane widths and bicycle lanes will be made with the 2 paving projects scheduled in the near future. So it sounds like they're not gonna address the striping. They're
All right,
They're
so
gonna-
we gotta push hard for the 10-foot lanes, and we'll do that when we,
when they
meet
do
with-
the resurfacing.
Well, we're gonna meet with the paving group. That's what our next meeting is gonna be. is-
Okay.
Presently, on the side as you're entering the village, there's maybe 2 feet designated presently for a bike lane. It's very, very narrow on us. It's almost non-existent.
Yeah, so
So-
this, I mean, this lays out that they're supposed to add 5 foot as that shoulder. So hopefully
Yes.
that'll be corrected. The problem, oh, go ahead, Lily. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, that's all right. But what I'm concerned about is that they would take it from the sidewalk. They're not going to
Yeah.
take it from the pavement. They're going to take
We
it.
don't, we don't wanna lose the tree lawn. The curb, I don't think there's any plan to realign the curb. They're not changing the curb line as far as I know.
They're
Oh,
not, but
okay.
that's the problem. If they have to eat into the sidewalk a little bit, the curb will remain in the same place, but they might eat into the other end of the sidewalk, given the new construction of the bridge. So there's
Right.
plenty of room, there's plenty of road. So we don't, it's a nice wide sidewalk right now.
Yes.
And it's not standard, it's bigger than standard, and it would be
Yeah.
really awesome if we could keep it.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I'm gonna add that comment and
And I think we would like some information on the final design of the railing and the sidewalk to understand how much width is left for pedestrians on the sidewalk. Understanding that, you are right next to the curb, and that is an important issue.
Yeah, and you might be able to, because I'm not used to reading those plans. I think it's in there. I think how it's going to attach to there is in there. I can't find it.
Okay, I'm gonna
When I look at the
look through it. I
Okay.
wrote myself a note, Renee, to look at that tonight, and I
Okay.
will delve through that and see if I can
I
find
mean,
it,
it's
okay?
thick. It's thick. So those are the 2 things I see missing. And to answer Lily's question, I didn't get the sense, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't get the sense that they were looking to reinforce these comments. They already have anything that's in here, they've already responded to and they've acknowledged. So I think it's just anything that's left out, like the sidewalk width and then the crosswalk to safely get across the trail while the trail is closed. And anything else that you see that's missing that's specific to
And
the
I would
bridge.
also add that crosswalk, we're hoping will become permanent because, in terms of complying with our active transportation plan, our consultant has recommended in urban areas that we have crosswalks approximately every 300 feet. And the other principle that is generally embodied in walkable communities is to have multiple options for walking to make it as accessible and comfortable for the pedestrian and non-motorized mover.
I agree with all of that. And then the other thing I need you to look at, Bob, is the lighting section, just to make sure that the communication that we had with them, which is, let me see what question that is. That is question 3, or point 3, 3B, about pedestrian lights. Just make sure that all of that looks like what we discussed.
Okay.
Because we
will
don't
do.
want to sign ourselves up for additional lighting that we don't have the budget for.
Right. Incidentally, on the topic of lighting, I talked to the new account representative from RG&E, and over the next 6 months, we'll be working on a plan for all the RG&E lights in the village to transition from metal halide to LED, which will be cheaper in the long run. This will be taking place in the next year, so we don't have to budget for it this year. But we'll have options in terms of the lumens level, the color of the light, and where these fixtures are located. The first phase of this will be the Cobra lights, but they also are going to be providing options to update the RG&E Acorn lights. These are the ones that we do not own. So everything in the RG&E inventory will be LED.
Great.
If you drive to Pittsford Plaza and you cross the bridge, the former high pressure sodium lights that were pink are now white. And that is similar to the type of LED fixtures they would be installing in the Cobra lights that we have on many side streets in the village. And this is being done, RG&E really dragged its feet on this. This is only being done because there's a mandate from New York State. And Jeff is here, so now we can move on to.
Before we shift over to that, one last thing on this. Does it make sense for us to put together an FAQ for our residents around this? 'Cause
Yes.
I'm not sure everybody has the messages, what's happening, when, how it will all work. How can we get that word out?
We talked about, Dan, making sure that we did something similar to what Fairport has up. They have a whole section on their website. And as we get closer, we're still a year out.
Oh, that's
but
right.
we need, it's not till 2021. And so these plans aren't final yet. Once everything gets final, I think we should be thinking about that and make sure, like what Lily said, make sure everyone understands where the barriers are going to be, where the signs are going to be, how it's going to impact them. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be messy.
And also what the final schedule is. There may be some delay because there was a slight pause in the design work because of the lockdown.
Yeah. So they're probably still going to try to, the reason they were doing it was to avoid the school season. So it's too bad they couldn't have done it while we were on lockdown. Would have been perfect.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, okay, so what the comments that we need to get to DOT by Friday, though, Bob, those don't need to be like a formal memo from you, or how do you want them? Sounds like we only have a couple issues.
I think we should just make a very brief memo and get it out, just down and dirty and just get it out. I don't think it has to be formal.
Okay, so if everyone gets feedback by Thursday and I compile it to you, can you get it to DOT on Friday, or how do you want to do it?
You can send it to Dorothea. She'll get it to them. I per Joel's request last week, I sent a very simple email confirming our agreement on the lighting. So I think that just a simple email to Joel is adequate.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, great. Thank you, Renee. Jeff, do you want to talk about CCA and the agreement? We can't hear you, Jeff.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Some people would say that's a great thing for me to be muted. There was a lot of back and forth on the contract, which is really the guts of the resolution. So what's being done tonight is a resolution adopting that form contract and authorizing the mayor to sign that contract if a bid comes in within the specifications of what we're looking for, which is renewable energy beating the RG&E average for 12 months. The back and forth, as I put in my email, was, I don't know whether there was something else going on, but there appeared to be an unwillingness to understand that we are not operating, or that the power suppliers are not operating a closed system. So they only can guarantee that what we're getting out of the, when I say we, our consumers are getting out of the system, is represented by clean electrons going in. And there's no way to match those up so that there's a, clean in, clean out. It's just you account for what goes in, and that's the number that you buy that come out. So I kind of always thought that was the way it had to work, but I think the rest of the municipalities finally got online with that. So what you're doing tonight is the resolution approves the contract, allows the mayor to sign it if there's a bid that comes in with those specifications. And the bidder will be vetted by Jewel, and the bid that they recommend, if there's more than one, will be at their recommendation.
Okay. Jeff, I have a number of questions on the language in here. Can I think they're pretty easy. Can I just go down a list?
Yeah, but I'm not guaranteeing I'm not going to know the answer.
Okay, no, some of these are really simple. The resolution in the second paragraph, effective March 16th. Is that June 16th or March 16th?
That's March 16th of 2018.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's the old one.
Also, wait, Dan, before you move on, that second paragraph needs an S on authorize. I don't know if we care about grammar, but.
Where are you, Renee?
Let me pull up my notes here. I'm sorry, the third paragraph of the resolution, authorize needs to say authorizes, right? The village authorizes.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, Dan.
That's Dorothea, do you have this in a Word version, Dorothea?
You're muted.
I'm not sure if you sent it in the Word. I think you just sent me the PDF. I will double check.
I'm just trying to figure out who's keeping track of these changes.
I'm tracking them.
Okay.
That's great.
Question for the team. I recall, I just want to make sure this has met our RFP process, because I definitely know we've talked to 2 administrators, but I don't know that we talked to 3, and doesn't our procurement policy require 3 bids? So I'm just wondering, is that something we should be concerned with?
Originally, it was, I believe it was distributed to 3 people and only 2 of them came back with bids.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the one here and then the one down in Westchester. I just didn't, as long as it's gone to 3. Frank, are you bothered by this at all? Okay. Second page of the resolution, second to last paragraph, and therefore that Jewel in its role as program administrator. Last sentence there, through the supervisor.
Yeah, I had that same question. That should be the mayor, or are we going
Yes,
through the
the
town
mayor.
supervisor?
Yeah, that's just,
Okay.
that's a typo, Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, yeah, the mayor.
That was an easy fix. I had a couple more simple questions. Let me go down. Now I'm into the contract. That's June. That's March 16th. Okay, that's the same note. I think it's wonderful that we're going as the default with 100% renewable. So hats off to everybody who made that happen. There was no real timeline in here as to when this all happens. Assuming they get a bid, how long is the turnaround time?
It's fast. So they're going to bid. I think they're hoping to do it July 1. And I don't know how long it takes for them to get a bid.
Yeah.
There will be back and forth. The companies will try to change this deal and we won't agree to that, and that'll be that. But once a good bid comes in, they're only good for 24 hours.
Oh,
Okay.
So when the bid comes in, there's going to have to be a presentation to all of the town, and we'll know when that's going to happen, all the towns in our village. So all 4 of us will know when that's going to happen, and there'll be a bid opening, and Jewel will make his recommendation, and we'll follow it, as provided that it meets that 100% renewable and beats the 12-month average. By the way, the 12-month average is really problematic given our oil situation and this pandemic. I'm not at all convinced that we're going to get a bid that qualifies, but that's just the way it is.
yep. Next question. Oh, this is a logistics thing. Do we have to send them a list of our residents, or like, did they get that from because they're going to have to do a bunch of
that'll be on the supplier and Jewel with RG&E.
Okay, so it's not, what I was getting at, is that an administrative cost for us?
No, and we don't really want to be involved in sending consumer information.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I was asking. And, oh, you know what I couldn't find in here was how this agreement renews. The PDF wasn't searchable though. I was looking for renewal and
So it's in there. It's in there. So the initial bid will be for a fixed period of months. And there's language in here, and really, that's the end of the deal. So it doesn't renew. However,
Yeah.
it can be renewed if the parties agree that it should be renewed at that bid level. Otherwise, you're going to go back, you're going to do the same thing in 24 months.
Yeah, but I'm also, so not just the bid for actual power and how that renews, I'm also interested in how this agreement between us and Juul renews. That's what I was looking for.
That's in another agreement. That's in the actual CCA agreement. And I think we're signed up for 3 years maybe with an
Okay,
option. It's either 2 or 3 years with an option.
then I'm not
And-
crazy, and that I didn't see it in here was by design.
Yeah, that's a different contract. That was the first contract that the board approved was with
Okay, and then
Juul.
my
That's
last,
when we selected Juul and Rocktricity, right?
Right, yeah.
so then my last question is way at the end of this thing. You've got Exhibit B, and this is, it's like a form. And one of them, there are 3 columns. One of them is the administrator, and that's filled out as Juul. And then the municipality, we fill out that out as us. But then there's the supplier general information, and I assume that doesn't come until we accept a bid. Am I
That
reading
is
that right?
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I just didn't want to I wanted to make sure we weren't signing something that they could fill in whatever they wanted.
Yeah, well, now understand, we're not signing this.
Right.
The resolution is for the mayor to sign it, the contract itself, when we get a qualifying bid recommended by Juul.
I don't have any other comments. That was all I had.
I have a couple. I don't, does anyone else want to go before me? Okay.
No, go
Um,
ahead, Renee.
All right. So the page 718, all about enrollment. As I understand it, everyone that's currently anyone in our village will automatically be enrolled in this unless they opt out. So it's
Correct.
just something to think about communicating with our residents before it happens, so they're not alarmed or feeling taken by surprise or frustrated.
One of the things they've emphasized since the beginning of this process is that's the most critical communication of all is so that residents know they have an option and they know the time frame with which they have the opportunity to opt out.
Okay.
And Renee,
Go
let
ahead. Yep.
me just interject. I think that's all on Juul.
Okay.
The Juul,
Well, it's
we
kind of,
won't,
yeah, I guess they'll be, yeah, go ahead.
my understanding is that there's something we're going to have to look at and approve, and there's something they may want to stick on our website and elsewhere. But all of that stuff is going to be up to Juul to generate and provide to us and tell us where to put it.
Okay, and that's where
When we selected Juul, they did a whole presentation on their plan and
Yeah,
how.
I
Right.
remember that part. I was just in this contract, just making sure I understood everything. The other part that I want to make sure we're not going to be using staff time for is 5.6, approval of general communication. It's talking about joint communication, going back to what the mayor was saying, like one of the things that when Juul came to present to us, they talked about all the communication and how important it was to make sure that the residents understood how this would work and the time frame and all of that. It says joint communication, who's going to do this in our village, on our village team? Is it going to be Dorothea? Is it somebody else? That whole paragraph, 5.6, talks about the communication that's going to go out. And I know there's going to be some overhead in the beginning. And it says that they'll send us things and we'll review it, offer revisions, things like that. Is that going to take a lot of time on our part, or in your
It's
impression?
not supposed to. The
Okay.
only thing, the only thing we're supposed to do is review and approve. All the handling and the sending out and the mailing, they're supposed to take care of.
Okay, all right.
And we're not supposed to incur any expenses here, and I would not want it to be Dorothea that is
Right.
reviewing
That's
and
what I was
approving.
worried about.
All
That's what I
all
was
the
worried about.
municipalities have the same concern, Renee, because no
Okay.
one has staff with staff time to handle that.
Okay, so they're gonna do it
Dorothea had a
all.
question.
Real quick, I had an email from Sue Hughes this week, matter of fact, yesterday. She informed me that the electrical supply bid for the CCA program has a July 1st response date. She goes, if they get a compliant bid, they need to host informational meetings the following week, and they're asking if they will need to schedule a web-based meeting or in-person meeting might be possible. She's looking for a day and time to work with me either at, she says town hall, I assume she means a village hall. And if web-based, if we'd be willing to use our system to host and coordinate. So
I think we would. I don't think it's going to be feasible to do a live meeting, nor is it desirable really at that time.
Yeah.
she said Rocktricity will share the meeting details via social media and request that the village, again, town, post the information as well. Would we coordinate with you on this? So I think that relates to exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah, everything we talked about when we talked to Juul's representative with their legal counsel and the three other attorneys was that it would be virtual. That they used to do these show up and open the bid things, but they were kind of pleased that it would be happening virtually. So I would be surprised if there's a plan on Juul's part to do anything other than a virtual meeting.
Okay, so she's looking for a response from me on a day and time between July 6th and the 10th.
Is this woman from Rocktricity or Juul?
Susan, who she's from,
RPCC.
I'm not sure.
She's from the Rochester People's Climate Coalition. I don't know. She was one of the people that came
I
to
think she's
speak with us.
Rocktricity.
Yeah,
I think
we-
she's Rocktricity.
Right.
It's Rocktricity now as they changed their name.
Okay.
So we really need to be in step with Juul, how Juul wants to do this, not how Rocktricity wants to do it. That's my suggestion. I mean, I would,
Well, they should be coordinated because they're supposedly a team.
yeah. Dorothea, do you have a contact person for Juul?
No, just Rocktricity.
I thought we had a presentation once from Juul.
No, we do. There is somebody that we have a contact for. We'd have to look for it, but they did give us a name somewhere in another folder. I may have a business card, but there is somebody that we can contact from Juul.
My suggestion would be that Dorothea include them in the email when she responds to Sue, so that we can get Juul on the same page with us, because I'm assuming that Juul would want to do the hosting, but that's just my assumption.
But if we end up hosting, is there a date the board would prefer that I schedule this on? I assume that one or two of you might want to attend.
I don't want to get too deep into this, but that email did not sound right to me, because they can't go out for bids until they get all of the village and town's resolutions.
Do you want
And
me to forward
my
this?
understanding is they only have Brighton. They need ours, and they need Arundecoit and Pittsford. They can't go to bid without that.
I think Pittsburgh's meeting or the town's meeting tonight.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the phrase in that email about they've gone to bid and they expect it back by July 1st. I don't know how that's possible. I thought they were going out to bid on July 1st.
Do you want me to forward you the email?
No, I don't think I should be involved. Well, yeah, you can, and I'll forward it on to the Juul attorney and ask what's going on. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do that.
It's on its way.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Anything
Renee,
else?
are you comfortable with 5.6 now?
Yes, I wanted to make sure I understood how much time, if any, was going to be incurred by our staff coordinating communication, particularly when this first goes out, when the switchover first occurs.
Juul was very understanding, probably because all of the attorneys made it clear that this was not going to use staff time.
All right. I mean, it's still going to, take time to put up on our website and review. And so there is some overhead. I just wanted to make sure we weren't, that we understood the expectations.
Can you guys remind me the relationship between Rocktricity and Joule again?
Joule is the national firm that has done this in Westchester County. Rocktricity is the local consultant that is going to handle the interaction with the local community.
Okay.
They're a not-for-profit. I believe they're a
So
not-for-profit.
they work together.
Yeah, they work together. They put in a dual application, a dual bid.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right. Anything else before we vote? Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to sign the resolution.
Dan, let me stop you for a second. I just want to point out there was a blank in the resolution that's now going to be filled in along with Dorothea's other two changes.
Yep.
It's in the third whereas paragraph. It's local law number 6 of 2018.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sorry, Dan.
Go ahead,
Yeah, no
Dan.
problem. So I'll make a resolution to sign the amended version with the changes that Dorothea has captured. Let me just get the exact name. Resolution authorizing Joule Assets, Inc. to solicit bids for supply of electricity from renewable sources and approving electricity supply agreement.
Would someone like to second this?
Lampier, second.
Thank you. Dorothea, would you call for a roll call vote?
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's our aye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Resolution passes.
Okay, next item, we have a public hearing to consider a proposed local law eliminating chapter 189 of the village code. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion. Trustee Galusha.
Roll call vote, Dorothea?
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's our aye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Motion passes.
Discussion from the board.
Are we leaving ourselves, since we haven't, we're still working with the planning board on some other aspects of the temporary use code? Are we leaving ourselves vulnerable, or is there any downside to taking this out? To
No, I
eliminating
think
this chapter.
I think in our discussion last time, Renee, we all agreed that this could be segmented. This is something that we wanted to address as soon as possible, and we're still going to keep working with the planning board to address the other aspects of the temporary use permits in the new code.
Okay, so in case, let's see, any of the seasonal things that normally happen come up before we can make the changes that we're working with the planning board on, we don't think that would hinder any of that.
Jeff?
In my view, the temporary use part of the code is workable.
Okay,
I think there were some things that the planning board would like to see it have in it as well, but I think it's workable. But Renee's point is well taken. The one that comes up for me, I'm not sure what the bills are going to do, whether they're coming or not. I've not
Yeah.
heard anything about that.
I doubt it very, very, very much that the bills
So
are
do
going
I.
to be here. Yeah,
That's what I think.
and so the next one would be the Christmas trees?
That's, yes, but
Yeah.
that's not very far away.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and sometimes it takes us a while to, get
Well,
things
I
done
think,
right.
I think this is something that Justin is sending us a memo. I think we owe it to ourselves and to everybody else to sort of resolve this quickly.
Okay,
I think we should move ahead and just keep going and do it.
okay. But if the Christmas tree, not Christmas tree, the Oh my gosh, Jewett, if he he were to come tomorrow to want to apply, we think our current code is adequate to accommodate. That's what I'm asking.
I do.
I'm being very clear tonight. Sorry about that.
There
Okay.
are a couple changes I would like to see made, but I put that in the previous local law, but we decided to do them in all one fell swoop. So
Okay.
what I really think though is that this chapter is just a really bad piece of legislation. It ought to go.
I think we all agree on that. I think we
All
all
right.
agree.
I have no more questions.
Okay, so we have a second to open the public hearing. Roll call vote, please.
Do we need
We
to
already
see if
opened.
anyone, do we need to see
Oh.
if anyone
Oh,
wants
yeah,
to comment?
would any of our attendees, either of you have any comments on the proposed local law or questions? Okay, hearing that there are none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. Roll
Trustee
call
Galusha.
vote to close the public hearing.
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's all right.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Motion passes. To close.
Okay, I will make a motion to eliminate chapter 189 of the new village code. Do I have a second?
Lampier, second.
Okay, could we have a roll call vote?
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's our eye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Motion passes.
Assuming there is no other business, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second, trustee Galusha.
Roll call vote, please, Dorothea.
Trustee Keating,
I'm going to vote aye, but Dorothea, I think we have a meeting next Tuesday, the 23rd, and that's not yet up on the website.
we don't have a meeting on the 23rd.
We don't.
Nope, we don't have a meeting till July 14th at this point.
Okay, never mind then. Thank you.
We,
So aye.
I'm sorry, was there anything done about the ATP before I joined?
I talked to Justin Valistra earlier, and he asked if we could hold off on the formal request because they're concerned about the clock. And so I proposed to the board that we hold off until the July meeting, and they're going to try to start delving into the active transportation plan.
So I don't know whether the town is going to send this to county planning. We need to because it's going to be an amendment to our comprehensive plan. The town, I think, wants to be, or we plan on the town being joint lead agency for seeker. Do you want me to contact the town attorney to find out what they're planning to do about that?
Yes, that makes sense, Jeff.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, we had a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
We had Frank seconded.
Okay, Dan voted, so we'll continue with the roll call vote.
Trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's our eye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Take care.
We'll see you
Nice
on July
to meet you,
14th.
Renee.
With
Thank
full
you.
intent.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.